Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. LeBron James is leaving the Los Angeles Lakers. Major breaking news.
The basketball world is shaking to its very core right now because the self-proclaimed king is officially packing his bags. LeBron James has officially told the Los Angeles Lakers that they can move on without him. Nobody saw this dramatic exit coming, but the era of Hollywood drama in purple and gold has officially ended for good today. Do you think the Lakers are actually celebrating his departure behind closed doors? Or is this the absolute worst mistake the franchise has ever made?
LeBron James has informed the Lakers that the franchise can move on without him because he will be playing somewhere else next season. Oh, shit! Look at this right here, bro. We free!
The long national nightmare for actual basketball purists in Southern California is finally over. LeBron James has officially informed the Los Angeles Lakers that the franchise can move on with their lives because he will be playing his basketball somewhere else next season.
All right, we got some big breaking news to get to in the basketball world and NBA free agency. The Los Angeles Lakers, Vicky, have now confirmed that basketball legend LeBron James has informed them he is going to be taking his talents elsewhere.
This is not a drill. This is not a rumor, and this is definitely not a simulation. The man is gone. He has left the building, and quite frankly, the air in Los Angeles already feels about 10 times cleaner. It is a glorious day for anyone who missed watching an actual team play actual basketball instead of a glorified, non-stop reality television show centered entirely around one man's massive ego.
About how LeBron came to the decision that he wants to play again, but it won't be with LA.
LeBron James made the decision on Tuesday here that he will enter free agency, but not only that, he has decided to leave the Los Angeles Lakers. Rich Paul, his agent, informed Rob Pelinka, the Lakers' president of basketball operations, that the Lakers can move on with their offseason because LeBron James is moving on with them. He is leaving after 8 years. He led them to a 2020 NBA championship.
And we need to talk about the absolute circus that has been running this team for the last 8 years. From the second he arrived, it stopped being about the historic Lakers legacy and became the LeBron show. But today, the curtain has been pulled down, the script has been ripped up, and the star of the show has checked out. The announcement came down from Shams Charania of ESPN, quoting none other than the CEO of Klutch Sports, Rich Paul. The message was sweet, short, and incredibly passive-aggressive. It basically told the Lakers that they are permitted to go find some other players because LeBron is taking his talents to another zip code for the 2026 to 27 season. You really have to admire the sheer nerve it takes to phrase an exit like that. He is informing the team they can move on, as if he is doing them a massive favor by finally letting them run a normal basketball operation.
And so LeBron James had to first sift through whether he wanted to play another year, and all indications were he was going to do that. So a record unprecedented 24th NBA season awaits LeBron James at the very least, but then it was about where he was going to do it. And obviously, there's been a lot of different moves over the last year or so with the Lakers, different priorities with the Lakers. Luka, Doncic, Austin Reaves, we know they're both on max contracts, and their organization had decisions to make. And so before it can get to a point where the Lakers had to take time and wait, LeBron James made the decision for them. Now both sides can move on with their offseason. And so why? I'm told this is a happiness-led decision for LeBron James. He feels like he needs to find his happiness elsewhere, and wherever he lands in free agency, it will not be driven by money, according to...
Let us look at the absolute comedy of the spin room right now. The media machinery is working overtime, sweat dripping from their brows, trying to convince the public that this was a mutual decision, or that LeBron is walking away on his own terms. They want you to believe he is rejecting the Lakers. But if you have been paying attention to the actual reality of the situation, instead of the nonsense fed to you on morning television, you know the truth is a million times funnier. The Lakers simply did not want him back. The writing has been plastered on the wall in giant neon letters since last season. Remember when he went down with that sciatica injury and missed a whole month of action? The team actually had to learn how to play like a real unit without him. And when he finally came back for the first game, what did he do? He pouted on the court and on the bench because he realized the entire universe did not revolve around his isolation plays anymore.
You remember when Rich Paul went on the Pat McAfee show and said that there were 10 to 12 teams that were interested in LeBron? You remember that? You remember that? You remember when Dave McMenamin said the Lakers, no, was it Dave? It was either Dave McMenamin or Brian Hornhurst. The Lakers and LeBron James are currently going back and forth. It was all a lie. None of this reporting was true. There was no communication.
The front office looked at the massive financial bill, looked at the total lack of real championship banners lately, and decided they were entirely finished with the constant demands. They did not even offer him a contract extension over the summer. He sat around waiting for a blank check that never arrived. This entire scenario is exactly like watching a guest get kicked out of a house party only for them to turn around at the front door and scream at the top of their lungs that they did not want to be there anyway because the music was bad. It is hilarious work from the Klutch Sports propaganda network. They are running to every camera they can find to make it look like a tragic loss for Los Angeles, when in reality, the people in the front office are probably popping champagne and high-fiving each other in the hallways. The truth is that the Lakers made it completely obvious where their priorities were. They looked at their roster and decided that younger, ascending talent like Austin Reaves and the newly paired superstar Luka Dončić were the real future of the organization. The front office went out and took care of business, making sure the guys they actually wanted to build around were locked in. They left the aging veteran waiting by the phone, and when the phone never rang with a max offer, the camp had to scramble to create a narrative that saved face. He honestly believed he was going to get that legendary Kobe Bryant treatment, where the franchise willingly burns down the entire stadium just to keep one player warm for a farewell tour. But Rob Pelinka and Jeanie Buss had to give him a harsh reality check. They had to remind him that while he might have broken individual scoring records in a purple and gold uniform, he is simply not Kobe to that city. He has brought far more mediocrity, passive-aggressive tweets, and systemic frustration than actual championship glory over the last few seasons. The absolute best part of this entire breakup is watching the fan base completely fracture in real time. The pure comedy of the internet right now is totally unmatched. You can go online and see thousands of grown adults openly typing out messages saying they are officially done being Lakers fans. They are announcing their departure from the fan base as if they are checking out of a hotel. They are literally thanking Los Angeles for having them, openly admitting they are packing up their loyalty and moving it to San Francisco or Miami or wherever the circus lands next. It is a beautiful, hilarious revelation because it completely exposes these people for what they have always been. They do not care about the gold and purple. They do not care about the history, the culture, or the city. They are just a traveling band of circus followers who want to cheer for an easy victory without ever having to sit through a single rebuild. Real Lakers fans are actually throwing a party in the streets right now because they finally got the alien symbiote off their favorite basketball team. The franchise can finally go back to the actual business of basketball. They can use their salary cap space to sign actual pieces that fit together, instead of continuously clearing the roster to satisfy the whims of an elite sports agency. For nearly a decade, every single roster move had to go through the approval process of one man's inner circle. If a trade did not benefit his personal legacy or his friends, it did not happen. Now, the coaches can actually draw up an offensive play that involves passing the ball more than twice. The players can actually play defense without worrying about getting blamed on national television the next morning for a missed rotation that was not even their fault. Of course, the immediate aftermath of this means the mainstream sports media networks are going to shift their targets instantly. The talking heads are already working behind the scenes to change the conversation. All of a sudden, you are going to see a massive wave of stories centered entirely around Luka Dončić. The narrative will instantly shift to put immense pressure on Luka, claiming this is his year to prove he can carry a franchise completely on his own. They will spend the next year trying to destroy the Lakers' reputation from the outside, claiming the organization is completely doomed without their leader. They will completely ignore the fact that the team will be a much faster, healthier, and more cohesive basketball team the exact second they stop playing slow-paced, isolation-heavy offense just to preserve one guy's stamina for the fourth quarter. The conversation now turns to the poor, unfortunate franchise that has to welcome this traveling media circus next, and all the loudest whispers are pointing directly at the Golden State Warriors. If you are a fan of the Warriors, you need to find a seatbelt and pull it as tight as it goes, because you are about to experience the most toxic, exhausting ride of your entire life. The worst, most delusional fan base in the history of professional sports is currently packing their bags to invade your stadium. The very second things go sideways, and they always go sideways when you try to turn a professional basketball court into a retirement community, the blame game will begin. The incoming fans will never, under any circumstances, admit that their favorite player made a mistake. They will blame Draymond Green for his fouls. They will blame Steve Kerr for his coaching rotations. They will even have the absolute nerve to look at Stephen Curry, a four-time champion who built that entire franchise from scratch, and claim he is taking too many shots or missing open looks. They will look at a living legend and suggest he needs to take a back seat so an aging veteran can chase his individual stat lines. The sheer weakness of this potential move to the Bay Area is honestly historic. Let us look back at the history of the game to put this into perspective. Michael Jordan did not look at Isaiah Thomas and the bad boy Pistons after getting knocked out of the playoffs and decide he wanted to wear their jersey. He did not call up Larry Bird or Magic Johnson to beg for a spot on the Celtics or the Lakers just because the road got a little bit rocky in Chicago. Kobe Bryant stayed with the ship when it was sinking, enduring the lean years and the bad rosters because he understood that real legacy is built by staying through the storm. Joining a basketball team that literally beat you 3 out of 4 times in the highest stakes games of your entire career is the ultimate sucker move. The entire world spent years completely destroying Kevin Durant's reputation for making a similar choice, but watching a veteran athlete prepare to hold a retirement tour inside Stephen Curry's house is a whole new level of comedy. He cannot even finish his career in his own building, so he has to go rent space in another superstar's house just to feel important. If this Golden State experiment actually happens, it is going to be one of the greatest disasters or the most entertaining car wrecks in sports history. The entire structure relies on everyone pretending that everything is completely fine while the actual foundation of the team crumbles. The Warriors are out here signing free agent centers like Chris Asboring to massive $40 million contracts, praying that a collection of older players can somehow outrun the younger, faster, and more physical teams that are currently dominating the league. The hilarious truth is that the Lakers are highly likely to finish with a better record than whatever random super team gets thrown together next. The physical space created by this departure will let the remaining players breathe. The ball will move, the defense will improve, and the team can finally return to playing modern basketball. We also have to laugh at the official statements coming out of the front office right now. Jeanie Buss put out a statement thanking him for his 8 years, praising the 2020 Bubble Championship under the toughest conditions, and wishing him the best both on and off the court. It is the corporate sports version of saying, "Good riddance, please do not let the door hit you on the way out." It is a polite press release masking a massive sigh of relief. For years, the front office had to walk on eggshells, terrified of making a move that would cause a passive-aggressive social media post or an anonymous leak to the media. Now, they finally have their franchise back. They can build a sustainable future instead of constantly trading away future first-round draft picks for aging veterans who only move the needle for 6 months. Look at how the media defenders are reacting to this news. You have analysts on television right now looking completely heartbroken, stumbling over their words, trying to make sense of a world where they cannot spend 50% of their show talking about the Lakers' internal drama. People like Kendrick Perkins are on screen looking completely goofy after spending the entire morning arguing that the Lakers needed to do whatever it took to bring him back. They are mourning the loss of the daily content cycle. Without the constant threat of a trade demand or a locker room feud, these networks might actually have to cover the teams that are winning basketball games. It is a terrifying prospect for them, which is why they are desperately trying to link him to the Miami Heat or any other high-profile destination just to keep the reality show running for one more season. This entire situation completely validates what independent media voices have been saying for a very long time. The establishment used his brand to keep the ratings up, but the moment the product on the floor became completely unwatchable, everyone was ready to move on. The fans are completely exhausted by the constant gaslighting. We were told for years that the supporting cast was always the problem, that the coaches were always incompetent, and that the management was always failing him. We were expected to believe that a player taking up a massive percentage of the salary cap while playing zero transition defense had absolutely nothing to do with the team's struggles. The spell has finally been broken, and the public is no longer buying the excuses. Think back to the ridiculous situations we have had to endure over the past few seasons. Remember the constant coaching changes? Good, qualified coaches were brought in, used as human shields for a season or two, and then thrown directly under the bus the moment the team failed to make a deep playoff run. The media would spend months dissecting the coaches' rotations, completely ignoring the fact that the roster was constructed with zero shooting and zero perimeter defense just to satisfy the specific personnel requests of the star players' agency. It was a vicious cycle of blame that always spared the main culprit, but that entire strategy has officially run its course. The financial reality of the modern NBA has also caught up to this style of team building. With the strict new salary cap rules, you can no longer just throw together 3 random superstars and fill out the rest of the roster with players on minimum contracts who belong in the developmental league. You need depth, you need young players on affordable contracts, and you need a system that does not rely on one person dominating the ball for 24 seconds. The Lakers realized this, which is why they chose to prioritize the long-term health of the franchise over another short-term band-aid. They chose to invest in the future with Reaves and Luka, rather than mortgaging the next 5 years of the franchise for a farewell tour that would likely end in another first-round exit.